Hello and welcome to What to Read Next, where Eugene Public Library staff share some of our favorite books. Today, we are going to talk about comics and graphic novels, which I love and everybody else on this panel also loves. I'm going to start with some of my favorite middle grade or tween graphic novels about friendship, because who doesn't love a good friendship story? The first one I want to talk about is Stargazing by Jen Wang. I first fell in love with Jen Wang when I read The Prince and the Dressmaker, which to this day is one of my all-time favorite graphic novels. Stargazing is a bit of a different story. It focuses on two girls, Moon and Christine, in the same Chinese-American community. The girls are neighbors, and they become friends despite initial differences. It's a quiet, character-driven graphic novel, and it's full of K-pop and other pop culture references like Pokemon. It is beautiful. Wang's artwork is fluid and lovely. The panels are dynamic. The muted palette from the colorist Lark Pien gives off this sort of nostalgic glow. It's a great book for fans of Shannon Hale and Lei Wen-Fam's Real Friends and Best Friends books, or Raina Telgemeyer's books. Heads up, though, that there is a medical scare in this book, that it turns out okay in the end, but if you have a sensitive reader, maybe you want to avoid this one. All right. The next friendship story that I want to talk about is Power Up by Sam Nissen with illustrations by Darnell Johnson. This one is also for your tween readers. This is about two sixth grade boys who have never met IRL, or so they think. Miles and Reese are besties, but they only know each other as Griffin and Backslash in their video game Mecha Melee. They are an unstoppable team, always winning, but like Christine and Moon, couldn't really be more different from each other. This graphic novel balances action with a more sensitive story about belonging and finding your crew both on and offline. The full color art is practically electric, changing styles to fit the different video games. It's super engaging. And yes, there are plenty of epic robot battle sequences. This one is great for fans of Jerry Craft or Mark Tutuli, or anybody who's looking for a positive depiction of Black and Brown boys. The sequel Squad Up will be out next February, so definitely be on the lookout for that if you can bother to wait, because that's quite a long time. The next one I want to talk about is Allergic by Megan Wagner Lloyd. This one is illustrated by Michelle Mee Nutter, another one for tweens. This one is about not our human friends, but our furry friends. But not in the way you might think. Maggie wants nothing more than a puppy, but a hyped up birthday trip to the animal shelter gives her some really bad news. She's allergic to any animal with fur or feathers. What is she gonna do? A puppy is out of the question. So Maggie runs down the list of other potential pets. Can she outsmart her allergies and find that perfect pet? You'll have to read to find out about this one. It is so delightful to see a book that so openly and honestly talks about allergies, featuring allergy tests, anaphylaxis, EpiPens, and other facts, and doesn't really isolate her as the only one who has that experience, because there's another character in it, so that's pretty great to have that sort of community. The art, like Stargazing, uses some of those muted colors, but in a way that feels a bit more warm and cozy. This book is really about resilience and learning what it means to be a good friend to both humans and animals alike. So that's Allergic by Megan Wagner Lloyd with illustrations by Michelle Mee Nutter. And because I can't resist, I have one last one because I want to make a plug for our collection of graphic nonfiction books for young readers. One I especially want to highlight right now, with the topic of vaccines being really prominent, is Don Brown's A Shot in the Arm, which is a bit of a graphic history of vaccines. It includes fascinating discoveries and is narrated by the English writer turned smallpox person, Lady Mary Wortley Montagu. It's definitely not for anybody who hates needles. There is pretty much a needle on every page, so it's not for you if that's something you want to avoid. But if you or your child are interested in learning more about vaccines, including a little bit about the COVID-19 vaccine, though not necessarily up to date as this one was written last year, this is an accessible graphic novel. Check out this and anything that's in the Big Ideas That Change the World series. There's one about thinking machines, one about space. So this is a great series. Our collection has lots of wonderful books if you are interested in more fact-based graphic novels. Okay, I am going to pass it to my colleague Wes to talk about some more graphic novels for kids.
Hi, this is Wes. I love graphic novels and comic books, so I love to talk about them. Now, graphic novels and comic books aren't just for older kids and teenagers. Here at the library, we have a lot of great comic books for emerging readers, and I have two of them that I would like to highlight right here. The first one is Bun Bun and Bon Bon, Fancy Friends by Jess Keating. Bun Bun is the rabbit, and Bon Bon is, yes, Bon Bon is a candy. Now, Bun Bun's kind of lonely and wants to find a friend, but can't find one until he comes across Bon Bon, and they decide to be friends. But they don't want to be just friends, they want to be fancy friends. So, one of the ways they do that is with bow ties. Bon Bon happens to have some bow ties, so they both put their bow ties on. They are now a team fancy. So this is a really fun book for little kids. They'll really enjoy it. There's another one that they might enjoy then, Blueberry and Pancakes by Dan and Jason. Blue is the worm, berry is the frog, and pancakes is the rabbit. Now, this is a really good book about friendship. What they want to do is go play with Blue's beach ball at the beach, but Blue's, it's his prized beach ball, and he doesn't want to lose it. So what happens? They lose the ball. So this book is filled with adventures of the three of them trying to recover the ball back. So it's a lot of fun. Here, let me show you a picture. Here's a picture of them in their tree house. Blue lives on the bottom, Berry on the second floor, and Pancakes on the third floor. And on the other page, there is the prized beach ball under glass. For those middle school readers out there, here's one that I really enjoyed, Katie the Cat Sitter by Colleen A.F. Venable with artwork by Stephanie Yu. Now, I would like to read the back of this because it has a great description. It says, meet Katie the cat sitter. Some heroes have capes. Katie has cats. Katie is dreading the summer ahead while her best friends will be at camp. But when Katie gets a job cat sitting for her upstairs neighbor Madeline, things get interesting. For starters, Madeline has 217 cats. And they're not exactly regular cats either. Plus, Madeline only seems to go out exactly when the mousetress, the city's most notorious villain, commits a crime. Could it be that Katie's neighbor is really a supervillain? And that it's up to Katie to unwrangle a whole lot of wayward cats, save a best friendship, and crack the biggest story in the city's history? I would like to show you a page from it. This page here is early in the book when Madeline is giving instructions to Katie about taking care of the cats, and Katie realizes 217 litter boxes. Madeline says, oh no, they don't use those. So you can see on the bottom, there's the cats taking turns using the bathroom. They're passing each other, meow, meow. And I love that they have little towels on. It's so cute. So that is a really good book. I think for fans of like Raina Telgemeier and Terry Libenson, they would really enjoy that. So those are my selections for this time. I'll see you next time. Next, I believe, is Heather.
Thanks, Wes. Those are so cute, though. I have one cat. I cannot imagine 200 cats. So I'm going to be talking about some graphic novels for teens. They're not all as cute and fluffy as some of the kid ones, though I will say Heartstopper might be almost as cute and fluffy as 200 Cats. This is by Alice Oseman. It is now up to, I believe, volume 3. This is the story of Charlie. He is openly gay, but he's all in his head. He's kind of very nervous and anxious all the time, and he's an overthinker, and he goes to a British all boys boarding school, and he gets sat next to a rugby player, Nick, and he thinks that they're going to have nothing in common, but it turns out they do, and they form this friendship. that slowly becomes something more. So this is a little bit of a romance. It's very sweet. It's super fluffy. It's for fans of Bloom, or if you read Check Please and you wanted more romance and less sports, I would recommend Heartstopper. It's all done in these like muted teal colors. It's kind of monochrome, which is kind of a theme, now in a lot of graphic novels of having everything be monochrome, but it's just super sweet. It is being turned into a Netflix show. So if you want to read it before it comes to Netflix, I would get on to this graphic novel, Heartstopper. Next up, we have Witch Hat Atelier, which is a manga fantasy. It's super fun. It's about a young witch named Coco, and she so badly wants to be a witch. But the problem is, in her world, witches are born. They are not made. And unfortunately, Coco was not born a witch. But when she was younger, she was at a castle festival, and this mysterious woman gave her a magic book and a wand, and Coco used it to play pretend being a witch. But it's years later, and a witch has come to her town, and she is so excited. And magic is always done in secret, but Coco sneaks a peek at the witch doing his magic and finds out that magic is not done with a wand. Instead, it's done with magical ink, and they draw the symbols to make magic happen. And so Coco realizes she has that magic book with symbols in it. So she runs home, gets her book and her wand, finds out her wand is actually a magical ink. And so she starts drawing the symbols, and wouldn't you know it, she turned her mom to stone. So the witch that came to her town quickly comes and whisks Coco away, because now he has to teach her how to be a witch, because only she can undo the spell that she's put on her mom. But this witch is also very interested in, where did Coco get that book? Who gave it to her and why? So with that Atelier, I will say the first volume is missing in our collection in the physical copies, but I read it through Overdrive, so you can check it out digitally. It's super fun. The artwork is really, really detailed in this one. Some manga has really, really, really simple art, but Witch Hat Atelier has amazing artwork. So if you like fantasy, you love a good story, and you like really intricate artwork, this is a really great manga to read. So give that one a try. And next up, we have Moonshot. This is one of my favorite collections of graphic novel comics. It's now on volume number 3. It's an indigenous comic book collection. So there's 1, 2, and 3 volumes. This one just came out this year. And it is all indigenous graphic novel writers and illustrators. And they tell stories that are either from legends of their own tribe. Some of them are futuristic sci-fi stories or fantasy stories. I mean, look at this awesome art in here. It's really amazing, and it's nice because they're all kind of one-off stories, so you can just read. I mean, this one's just sci-fi. So it's all different flavors of art and storytelling, and just some really great way to kind of diversify your reading. So I would definitely give Moonshot a try. And then I'm just going to really quickly just point out these ones. I'm not really going to talk about them, but they're 2020. This one, they're both 2020 releases from pretty big writers. There is Dragon Hoops by Jean Luing Yang, which is all about kind of his look at basketball as a non-basketball fan. He teaches at a high school, and this was him just learning about basketball and the game and kind of falling in love with it. Jean Luing Yang, you have to read everything he does if you're a comic book reader. He just does no wrong. So this one is great, especially for people who maybe are not sports fans. You kind of look at it through the eye of a non-sports person. And then I just wanted to talk about Juliet Takes a Breath, which is a comic book version of her novel by the same name, which is about Juliet, who moves from the Bronx to Portland, Oregon. And it's basically all about feminism. She has recently come out, and she's trying to find her way as a queer Puerto Rican feminist, and what that means. And as she kind of becomes an intern for a very famous author. And so this is her novel that is now done in comic book form. So if you would like to read it in graphic novel, you should give it a try. So those are my picks, and I believe I'm passing it off to Angela, who has some more teen choices.
Hi guys. Well, we're going to finish off today with a couple of funny books because I love funny books. These ones are all geared towards teens. This is one of my absolute favorites. Go for it, Nakamura, if you're a fan of manga. And manga can sometimes be 9,000 volumes long, but this one is sadly just 1 volume long. Go for it, Nakamura. This is Nakamura. As you can tell from the angst on his face, Nakamura is a weird kid. He doesn't necessarily socialize very well. He's kind of klutzy. His best friend is an octopus. So if you're like, oh yeah, I know that kid, this is Nakamura. Now he, unfortunately for him, has the worst crush on Hiros right here. And Hiros is just the sweetest guy in the whole world. And Nakamura spends the whole book in these little short 2 or 3 page chapters making a fool of himself in front of his crush. If you're into funny, silly stories about love and about falling for somebody and finding a great friendship, go for it, Nakamura. It's just the book for you. Staying on my funny but adventurous tip is Delicious in Dungeon. Delicious in Dungeon by Ryoko Ku is one of those longer manga series, but every piece is tasty and delicious for you to check out. If you know a kid that's into Dungeons and Dragons and adventure, then this is certainly the book for you. And if they're into any of those Dungeons and Dragons podcasts that are all the rage right now, this is certainly a great way to tie into that love. It features a young group of adventurers, and this is Laos, the main guy right here. His sister gets eaten by a dragon, and you're like, oh no, what's gonna happen? So he wants to rush back in with his party and save his sister from this red dragon, but unfortunately, they're poor. They don't have any more supplies, and it's actually very dangerous. So he convinces his friends that we're gonna do something that you're not supposed to, very faux pas, is we are going to fight the monsters, and then we are going to eat the monsters. And everybody thinks that they are disgusting and terrible, and how could you do this? But he really wants to save his sister. And along the way, they meet a wonderful dwarf who helps them out, and the book is taken in part food manga, as you can see. They do these delicious food pieces, and this food is made up of huge scorpions, walking mushrooms, mushroom feet, and seaweed, plus a little bit of dried slime for flavor. So the book is funny. It's a little outrageous, ties in what cooking manga would be if you're really into like monster food, and just a delight. All right, our last book is by Andrew Tayson, Emotions Explained with Buff Dudes. This book is great for any kid who has feelings or emotions and would like to laugh about them. The book is very much a piece of acknowledging that things are weird and silly, but also is great for kids who are fans of Tumblr or silly memes because it's told in just a really simple one sheet. It's based on a webcomic, and it just deals with emotions in a way that makes you laugh and makes you take a moment and say, yeah, that's me. They're fun, they're silly, but at the heart of it is a really great acknowledgement about what it's kind of like to be a teen or a young adult going through life and doing it in a funny and silly way. So those are all of my adventurous, funny reads for teens. Now I'd like to welcome everybody back up so that we can all hang out and say thanks for reading graphic novels. They're our super favorite books to read, right, guys?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us today as we got to pick up some of our favorite reads here at Eugene Public Library. Until next time, bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.